Good evening, everyone. It's Dr. McCoy, and it is 7:02 Eastern Standard Time. We meet on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I got on here this evening about 2 minutes behind, but hey, here we go. So I want to thank you for being here on this evening. Let me say that I appreciate your prayers when I was dealing with the flu. I thank God that God is a healer and I am feeling great. And I'm just grateful to be here because the same way that you were nice enough and kind enough, thoughtful enough to check on me, this evening I want to focus on a question. How are you doing? How are you doing? I want you to think about that. And as I talk, I really want you to consider what's going on in your body, how you're feeling, and really what's going on with you, like how you're doing. Because many times, as you did with me, you're concerned about other people, you're praying for other people, you want them to be doing well, but what about you? So this gathering is going to be about you because this is May 1st and May is Mental Health Awareness Month, as many of us know. So when I ask, how are you doing? I want you throughout the month of May to consider what's going on in your body. How are you feeling? What are you doing? What types of things are making you well and what types of things are making you unwell? So it's said that our thoughts really create our internal reality. And we really need to be thinking about this during Mental Health Awareness Month so that we can be mentally healthy. So we have an internal reality that really we fuel by our own thoughts, really even by self-talk. You know how people say it's okay to talk to yourself as long as you don't respond, as long as you don't answer back. Well, self-talk can really be healthy because it can be a healthy tool that helps us with constructing our internal reality. Our internal reality, not about what's going on outside of us, but what's going on the inside. So when I talk with myself, I get to really, again, construct my internal reality. So self-talk can be positive, it can be constructive, and it can really boost my confidence, for example, and improve my mood when it's positive. And it can really help me to navigate through life and really through challenging situations. So ultimately, my self-talk, your self-talk can be cheerful and supportive, or it could be negative and self-defeating. So when I ask how you're doing, those are the type of things that I want you to be thinking about. What is your internal dialogue like these days? When you think about your mental health, what's going on the inside that's causing chaos for your life? You have to ask yourself that. How am I really doing? So I really believe that our thoughts shape how we experience the world around us. Our thoughts shape how we experience the world around us. One broad thought of like, how am I doing? If I ask, how are you doing? It can really strongly influence my feelings, and our mood. So when somebody asks, and sometimes people don't ask, how are you doing? They'll say, how are you feeling? And they construct the question that way because they want you to consider what's going on, again, in your body. So when we think about how we're doing, we may be having a smooth afternoon today with no major problems. But if we convince ourselves otherwise, then we can really taint our emotional state. So the afternoon could be smooth, but if I'm not smooth on the inside, then I can taint my feelings and my mood. And really my reality, again, is shaped by my internal reality, not by what's actually happening around me. So I could be having a great afternoon, or people would think, man, it's a great afternoon. But on the inside, I could be saying, So when someone asks you how you're doing, you need to start to think about that from the inside out. Not thinking about it, well, I'm not doing well because I don't have money in the bank. That's an outside in reflection. Well, I'm not doing well because my best friend is not talking to me. No. How you're doing should not be simply contingent upon what's happening outside, but what's happening inside. Because even if I don't have that money, my internal dialogue could say, well, I really don't have a whole lot of money. What can I do with what I do have? So I don't have money. That's already been established. But I'm not going to stay there. Now I'm going to entertain, consciously what other things I do have, and that may help me to at least make it through the next moment. We're not talking about getting through the next week. We're not talking about getting through the next day. I'm talking about getting through the next moment. So you see, and then if my best friend no longer talks to me, again, it's about internal reality. I may not have that friend anymore, but I have to think, okay, if I'm a believer, I've sang that song so many times. What a friend we have in Jesus. Okay, so if I've sang that song, internally, what is that reality for me? It should mean that I'm never alone. And the fact of the matter is God does provide other people. So hopefully that person is not the only person around. So thinking matters. Thinking matters. It really does. And so sometimes when we ask someone, how are you doing? The person may say, fine, okay, good. Sometimes they may say, hanging in there. How are you doing? Just trying to get through another day. Sometimes when we ask people how they're doing, think about it. We're really just saying hello. We really don't expect a detailed response. That's why I'm doing this on this evening, because I want you to share how you're doing, if you feel comfortable. Okay? How are you doing? Not one of those types of responses that just, I don't really care anyway. I'm asking you and it's just like, oh, I'm fine. But how are you really doing? Again, this is the first day of Mental Health Awareness Month. Doesn't mean that everybody's struggling with things. But when was the last time someone asked you how you were doing and then sat and waited for your response? That's what this is about. Okay? It's not about everybody going through. It's not about everybody needing, a special prayer or need to go to the altar. But it is about the fact that the same way you cared about me being sick with the flu, I care about you. How are you doing? Okay, well, if nobody's asked you that in a while, or if you don't want to answer here, that's fine. Because what if you ask yourself is what I'm wanting to focus on as well. What if you ask yourself that question and then think about it a bit, even before you replied, or again, if you choose not to reply? What if you think about how are you doing? I'm just trying to get us to really encourage ourselves to think, because thinking matters. Thinking matters. And I see you, Sister Michelle, saying you feel blessed beyond measure. And that's really good. That's great. So when someone asks you how you're doing, you can talk about how you're feeling, because that can be really in the same vein. How are you doing? How are you feeling? So if thinking that life is good, for example, and I see you saying, I'm doing great. That's great. So that's good. So if thinking life is good and that you're doing great and that you're blessed beyond measure, if that's going to really be beneficial, I wonder why people don't think like that all the time. Why do you think people don't think like that all the time? I'm really doing great. I'm blessed beyond measure. Why is that? Well, partly because we rarely assess our thoughts. Like if I don't say something positive and I say something negative, I don't really assess that thought, or even not saying it, just thinking it here. I don't assess that thought. And if that thought is negative, I don't look to change it. You ever heard somebody say that a person is having a pity party? Yes. Well, that's a choice that a person makes. It doesn't mean that there aren't bad things happening in a person's life. But have you ever been around a person? I mean, they could have lost their job. Their health could be bad. They lost their best friend. The dog ran away. And they still would think that, it's all right. It's not all right. But it's all right. It's all right. Some people hardly even try to really think about what they're thinking about or the way that they're thinking. Now, the Bible talks so much about the way we think. You know, Paul says in Philippians, think on these things. And Paul lists all these things to where if you really wanted to do what I'm talking about, if you really wanted to work on your internal dialogue and your internal reality, if you're a Christian, the Bible already teaches you how to do that. So I'm talking about it, but you already know. It's just, are you willing to do it when you have those negative thoughts? See that? Like, oh, all these bad things. What could I possibly be thinking about? What Paul says, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are noble. You know that, right? So you can start with that list, and the list that you've already created that's negative, perhaps cover that list with Paul's list. Well, this is never going to change. Is that really true? Life is about change. This is never going to change. It's going to always be like this. Wait a minute. Whatsoever things are true. So you have to evaluate what you're thinking so that when you ask yourself how you're doing, you could maybe say to yourself internally, well, you know, I didn't think I was doing so great, but the more I think about it and the more I think on these particular things, you know what? My spirit has been lifted. It's actually been lifted. And I see you, Sister Barbara, saying feeling better. You've resumed your physical therapy this week. Look at that. So what type of resources do you use? She says she's walked outside with her walker. Look at that. Some of us don't even need a walker, and we don't even take a walk. Maybe we can learn here from Sister Barbara that maybe you'll feel better if you just get out and get some fresh air. Where I am, it was just like beautiful today. And I'm saying that as if the day is over, but it's been a beautiful day. What if you just need to take a walk? It's not really about that money. It's not really about that relationship. It's not about that right now. You just need to get outside. And some people say, I have allergies. Well, I do too. I take a Zyrtec and anything else I need to take. And I don't have to be out there for a long time. But maybe I just need to commune with nature right now to get my thinking right. Maybe. Thank you for sharing that. So I can tell you that I've read about two thinking modes. So I'm going to give you these two thinking modes. These two thinking modes to improve how I think I'm doing. So again, my mind can say, I think I'm doing this way. But then I can work on changing that if it's negative. Because I don't know about you, but I don't like being around a whole lot of negative people. But then I have to ask myself, am I one of those negative people? You see, I do these self-assessments like all the time. Like if I see somebody behaving some way in a store, I'll say to myself, wait a minute now, don't just look at them. When you get back in your car, you look at yourself and you ask yourself, are you one of those people? I'm just talking about thinking because we all do it. We all do it. Hello there, Pastor Isaac. So good to see you. God bless you. But yes, thank you for the compliment. But yes, so there's two thinking modes that I've practiced, okay? Because you may see me and think, Dr. McCoy just seems so delightful all the time. Well, I'm not a perfect person. I'm just working on and have been working on for years on the way that I think. And I say that to you because this is Mental Health Awareness Month. And there was a time where I was mentally sick to the point where I wanted to take my own life. So I'm telling you this from a recovering negative thinker. People are not always thinking negatively about you. People, when they talk about you, let me tell you, when your name is mentioned in rooms, it's not always negative, okay? Don't think that about other people. And then stop thinking negatively about yourself. So I'm telling you these things because I'm practicing this. And it's Mental Health Awareness Month. You know, this is my month. I probably talk about these type of things more than once because I have dealt with a sickness of the mind, if you will. And I'm not going to go back there because I'm better than that. I'm better than that. Yeah. So I read about these two thinking modes. That's what I was going to share with you. I've read about these two thinking modes. So I talked a little bit about the spiritual side where Paul says, think on these things. Yes, let's do that. But let me just share something else because some of us need a little more. And I'm not saying that the scripture is not enough. I'm just saying sometimes when your head is in that Bible so much and you don't look up, you don't realize that once you get your head out of that Bible, you got to deal with this out here. Okay? And everybody that you come in contact with, they don't believe this right here. So then you still have to deal with those folks on your job. And you can't say, well, Paul said. They don't care about no Paul. You see, Jesus said they don't care about that. So you have to equip yourself with every mental tool that you can so that you can be healthy in every context. Okay? So 2 thinking modes to improve how I think I'm doing. The first one that I read about is really just that I found that being aware of these modes is a key factor to staying upbeat, even through trying times. The first one, don't regret your present situation. Don't regret your present situation. Let me tell you what I mean. I grew up hearing older people say, if I knew then what I know now. I heard them say that. If I knew then what I know now. Thank you for saying that, Sister Michelle. She says we are our worst enemy when evaluating ourselves. Yes. So we'll say, if I knew then what I know now, let me let you off the hook. There's no way you could have known then what you know now. I hope that's refreshing for you. You can say that about yourself, but there's no way you could have known. There's no way. You can't know what you know until you know it, okay? So don't regret your present situation just because you didn't know back then that you could have made a certain choice that would put you in a certain position now. You made the best choice according to the options that you had. Okay? And even if you didn't make the best choice, now you are aware so you won't make that same choice again. Can you please give yourself a break? You can't know what you know until you know it. So I had to learn this thinking mode of I'm not going to regret my present situation. I am in the situation that I'm in right now because of the choices that I made. And by next year, I'll be in the situation that I am then because of the choices that I make this year. So focus on being mentally healthy enough so that you can make healthy choices. And remember that you can only choose according to the options that you have. If it's not there, then you simply cannot do it. It's okay. Okay. So when we tell ourselves we're not doing so well today because of our career or other aspects of life, didn't turn out the way we planned. When we say that, the fact of the matter is we began to fail to change our habits because we sit there and we say, well, I didn't know it then and now I'm just stuck here. No, you can begin to change your habits now. The first habit is stop thinking that because today is the way it is, that tomorrow is going to be the same. This is the day that the Lord has made. Rejoice and be glad in it. Today is Thursday. God hasn't even made Friday yet. And there you are talking about, oh, it's just going to be this way. I promise you it won't, because we haven't even seen Friday yet. Not this Friday, not tomorrow Friday. We've seen Fridays, but not this one that's coming tomorrow. And there you are having the habit of, oh, I regret my present situation. I should have done this. Where you didn't, okay? So what can you do now? Because your actions and your thoughts can be redirected to help to alter your situation. You can't change the universal law, of cause and effect, that put you where you are today. Because of this was the effect. You can't change that. So you can wish that things turned out differently, some way in your life, you can do all of that, but you will have more fulfillment in your life if you focus on what actually can be and not just what was. You hear these people, they were on the football team in high school. They got a ring and now they're 65 years old, still talking about that ring. Look here, look here, look here. You have to make new memories. You have to reach new goals. Life is to be lived. Life is happening to you. It shouldn't just be happening around you. It should be happening to you. Okay. So Sister Barbara says, don't put a period where God has placed a comma. All right. So I'm going to move on to the second one because that's a good way to end the first mode of thinking. Don't regret your present situation. Okay. You're there for a reason and then you'll move past it. Okay. So don't regret your present situation. And then the second one, and this is it. This is all. Remember that everything passes. Remember that everything passes, okay? Nobody knows what tomorrow will bring, at least not in detail. We know tomorrow will be Friday. We know tomorrow will be May 2nd. We know tomorrow will be springtime. And maybe if you're celebrating a birthday, you know tomorrow will be your birthday. But nobody knows what tomorrow will bring. We have some information, but I believe that God keeps some of that stuff, kind of hidden from us. Because if we knew everything about tomorrow, we wouldn't appreciate the details of today. And we wouldn't realize that, hey, this day is going to pass. This too will pass, but I have to deal with it while it's here. So, sure, the sun is going to come up because God is always on the job. Sure, we're going to have myriad of experiences, that's going to be available for us to enjoy. But, we may hit the jackpot, or we may receive bad news, or unpleasant surprise. But what helps us to enjoy our moments in any case is to realize that we will be able to handle whatever comes our way. You need to remember your history. You need to remember the history of your life. Don't just do it at your birthday. Don't just let people do it when you're eulogized at your funeral. You need to remember your history. Whatever that thing was that was just, you thought it would just ruin you. Look at you. It passed. Even the good times, that was the best time. Oh, those were the good old days. They passed. So the fact of the matter is thinking this way that, everything passes, will prod us to really cherish our experiences, to really value the day that we're in. And it also reduces fear because I don't have to think about tomorrow right now. I don't have to worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow it may come, whatever, but it's Thursday at 7:24. That's enough for me right now, okay? The Bible says that tomorrow has enough worries for itself, right? So negative emotions can really take us over when we try to take in life in doses. We overdose on life. Take one pill at a time and consider that like a day. If you took whatever medication, like I had medication when I had the flu, if I would have taken that medication and I would not have followed the dosage, I would have overdosed. And many times in life, we're living in an overdosage type of reality. We only have this one day, but it's like, okay, but tomorrow and then on Saturday and then on Sunday and all these things. And you're really overdosing on life. Don't overdose, just live. All right. So remember, everything passes. I had to remember that when I had the flu. I was sick at that time, but I knew it would pass. And if it didn't pass, then I would just die and hopefully I'd be in heaven and then it'll still be fine. So the only thing I had to be concerned about was if I live or die, And the fact of the matter was, I believed I was going to live. I mean, it was the flu and God is able. So I had to have in my mind, everything passes, McCoy. Excuse me, everything passes, okay? So your response and my response to how are you doing may not seem like a big deal, but it can be. So I don't want you to just be asking other people how they're feeling and how they're doing this month. I want you to check in with yourself to say, how am I feeling? How am I doing? And remember, the color for this month for mental health awareness is green, okay? So remind yourself, wear green to remind you, not just other people, all right? This is about you. So I want to tell you, lastly, this man's testimony that he shared, and I thought it was really, really interesting. He said that there's a store in his town and he purposely chooses the line of a certain cashier, right? And maybe you do this kind of thing. He does that partially, he says, because this particular cashier is really funny. And whenever he asks her how she's doing, she always has a prepared response. Like many of us, like we'll say fine, okay. But no. She doesn't just do that. She answers something like, he says she answers something like, I'm enjoying my life. How are you doing? I'm enjoying my life. Or she'll say, it's a beautiful day for me. See what I'm talking to you about how you're doing. You need to take charge of your day. How are you doing? I'm enjoying life. A real answer. How are you doing? It's a beautiful day for me. I don't know what's going on with these other people, but it's a beautiful day for me. And even in times where you don't feel so great, remember that Jesus said on the cross, even in agony, he said something good. He said a lot of good things, but there's one in particular. Father, forgive them. for they know not what they do. Even in the midst of agony. Even in the midst of agony. So it's just important that saying good things about how you're doing lift your spirit. Okay? I'm not talking about you being phony. I'm not talking about you being fake. I'm not talking about you pretending to be Mary, the mother of Jesus, because that's what a lot of people do. How are you doing? I'm blessed and highly favored of the Lord. You don't have to pretend to be Mary. It's okay for you to be you. You don't have to answer that generic. That's Mary. Mary was blessed and highly favored of the Lord. I'm not saying that you can't be, but how about try being you and create your own answer to how you're doing? I like to say, I say this all the time, and since I've been sick recently, it really resonates. How are you doing, Dr. McCoy? I'm doing well. Because there are times when sickness knocks on the door. But thanks be to God, if you ask me today, Dr. McCoy, how are you doing? I'm doing well. So you ask yourself, as I close this evening, you ask yourself, how am I doing? Don't just say fine. Don't just say okay. Don't be Mary, the mother of Jesus. I'm blessed and highly favored. But out of respect for this day, how are you doing? Take care of yourself. Thank you for your prayers. And just know that I am doing well. God bless you all. Thank you for being here. Have a blessed evening.